Welcome back to 3 Inquisitive Kids. Starting from this video, we will be looking at our Circulating track series. And this is very similar to our meet up and catch up problems, and they use basically the exact same equation. So I won't be going over that, but if you would like to go over some of those basic problems first, I can have their series links in the description down below if you'd like to look at them. Yeah, and let's get started. So in this constants and equations video, I want to show you two very important equations and formulas you'll be using, along with, of course, our other very basic meet up and catch up formulas as well, because that's where we're going to be doing them, except that instead of this time doing meet up and catch up problems on a straight line, we will be doing them on a circulating pathway. So the very first point I want to give out today is that the combined the combined um the combined distances okay, so the combined distances is when it's used in meetup problems when two people, they come together, and that combined distance is the number of, say for example, maybe meters or kilometers walked all together with them. So you would add their, distances up. So in this case, suppose if there was point S, right? That was the starting point. And two people, they're doing meetup problems, so they would go in separate ways right here. So their combined distances, no matter what, when they meet, for example, over here, this first person right here, I'll call him A, have traveled from S all the way, say, to finish line. So all this section. And this person B right here, she has traveled this much. Anyway, no matter what their speeds are, no matter how much distances each of these people walked or ran or drove, their combined distance is always um the pathway the pathway the pathway length. So no matter how much each of these people went by themselves, their combined distances are always the pathway length. So for example, this problem's pathway length was 400 meters. Then their combined distance would be 400 meters no matter what. And remember, this finish line right here is when they meet for the first time. But later you'll see that in a lot of problems, they meet for 2 times or 3 times or even 99 times. So it's just important to note that this is what works when they first meet. Of course, you would have to add another pathway length if they're going to meet for a second time and a third time. So you get the idea. After, we will be looking at what will happen if they're doing catch-up problems. So catch-up problems are when there are two people or more, and one person is chasing after the other person who has a head start. So in this case, suppose this was B, and maybe this would be A. Okay, sure. And A is trying to catch up to B, right? Over here. So they're going this way. Remember, it's a circulating track. So A would have to go all the way over here to catch up to where B is, okay? And you notice that the extra part that she ran here, that A ran over here, is just a full part of the pathway length. So that equation would be, so if caught up, so if those two, say people meet, say n times, n number of times, n times. If they caught up to each other n times, this is just the first time here, if they caught up to each other in n times, then they would, for each of those n times, they would have a, they would run one more pathway length. So one more pathway length is ran. So those two are the main, equations that we'll be using in this series. And, our usual series are 4 or 5 videos, but this one, it's going to be extra long, maybe 8, 9, I think, maybe including this one, it will be 9. Yeah, 9 videos, because I have a advanced section. Of course, it's just more people, I guess, and it's still using the exact same formulas. But whenever you use this, please remember to make sure that you understand that this is only when they start at same time, same place, right? So if you notice with all of these, it only works if these two people, they start at the same time and they start at the same place, at the same point on the pathway. So sometimes in problems you would think of using these formulas, but then really it turns out that you're making a mistake because they didn't start at the same time or they didn't start at the same place. So it's always very important to make sure this, and if it's not, try to see how you can make it start at the same time, the same place. Maybe you have to add a part to it. Maybe you have to cut off a part. Maybe you just have to think about it in a different way. So there's always different ways you could, add to these formulas. So yeah, thank you for watching, and meet you again at problem 1.